Alright, we're back. And apparently I'm searching up Mafia 3 right now. Now, it says over here, 2016 action-adventure video game developed by Hangar 13 and published by 2K Games. Now, I'm trying to look at, the development. Hold up. I found the future of it. 2017 development at Hangar 13 reportedly split into two groups. One focused on downloadable content for Mafia 3. One building the concept for Mafia 4. Early ideas set the game in 1970s Las Vegas with the glitz and glamour of mob-controlled Sin City. Plans for Mafia 4 didn't last long as Hangar 13 chose to create their own original video game instead. The Hangar 13 reassured fans they still own the series and not forget about it. In August 2019, Take-Two Interactive, parent company 2K Hangar 13, registered 3 trademarks in relation to the Mafia franchise. 2 trademarks are for Mafia and respective text-based logos, only different typography. The first one is identical font used for the first 2 installments franchise. The second one is different without any description. The third trademark directly mentions Mafia 2 and features the same silhouette logo from 2010. On 13th May 2020, 2K announced the Mafia Trilogy Pack. It includes a remake first Mafia game, a remaster of Mafia 2, and a version of Mafia 3 compressed with all additional content packs. The collection was released 25th September for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Microsoft Windows. The definitive editions of Mafia 2 and 3 were made available separately on 19th May 2020. Additional work by 2K Czech to Mac OS by... I'm not going to read all this. I don't want to read the notes. Oh, what does it say here? My free... So, someone named Alex Donaldson of VG2 for 7 Game Mix Review writing, Mafia 3 features one of my favorite video game stories of the year. Some gorgeous presentation, amazing soundtrack, and an interesting world. Sadly, it also has by the numbers mission design and dubious performance. I can't read some words right. It's 2 out of 5 star review. Samway Garden wrote, to say Mafia 3 is a disappointment is an understatement. It has all the surface something from a great game. The writing and acting is superb. Its direction and style are great, but its mechanical underpinnings are desperately unimaginative. Okay, I'm gonna... Original planning. Sorry, it takes long. Does it take place? So, Lincoln is half black, half white Vietnam War veteran takes on Italian mob. Italian mob is pulled into Mafia 3 story, but it isn't the game's focus. How long was Mafia 3 in development? 2K Czech is still working on Mafia 3 as soon as the second game shipped. Project was in development for roughly 3 years. Sources said it went through several fits. Starts over that time 2K Czech trying to figure out where to take the series. Which district should I assign Mafia 3? So Vito Skillet of Frisco Fields downtown River Road, Cassandra South Downs, Barclay Mills Del Rey Hollow, and Thomas Burke Frenchwood, Tickfall Harbor, and Point Vendôme. So Vito is in Mafia 2 and 3. So he's like Italian American. So he runs his Italians. Cassandra runs the Haitians, which I don't know who she is. And Thomas Burke is the Irish. So he runs the Irish people. Makes sense. Oh my gosh, so... Hold up, I want to hear this. They said something like... Oh my gosh. Okay, fine. I'll accept other things. Okay, I want to read this. Something about... It's been burned for a series literally does not exist. Something about something? I want to read this. Mafia 3... opens a documentary-style montage plot and part of the history of game's main character Lincoln Clay. By and Laffy jump into shortly after returns from war in Vietnam, but the game didn't always open this way. Once upon a time, Mafia 3 had fun looks with start cold open sequence play out with opening montage. It was controversial stuff, so sensitive in fact. Developer Hank 13 scripted for existence, least footage ever get out. That whole cold open has been built for a service, said Andrew Wilson, executive producer speaking at Brian's Develop conference yesterday, a session hosted by GameIndustry.biz. It literally does not exist because if ever they come out of any context in any form, it will look terrible because disconnected from a game is obviously even more shocking. Oh, so he said this. Oh my gosh, this is, so he went to talk about what the cold opening was, so he said something else. Before I read it, he said this. I ended up directing a day's mocap shoot because of such sensitive subject matter. So someone said that. I heard him, Black Man, the game director. And he said this. We never really talked about this anyway, he said. We went back in the 11th hour and added cold open to a game that was a really violent prologue which basically shows Lincoln and a couple of his friends getting ambushed by a mob. Super violent. Lincoln has to resort violence to escape. Cold open was going to explain why he left for Vietnam. He said he ends up killing a cop and has to flee to Vietnam. The problem, Blackman said. Blackman. I don't know what the name is. I'm not racist. Was the prologue was both powerful and something polarizing, and because it was added so late in the game, felt tacked on. Lincoln never really talked about it, he said. I think we add one scene where he has a conversation with his priest, Father James. Talked about it a little bit, but we never really paid off on it. There were characters involved in it who he kills later but doesn't really acknowledge. It says over here, it felt exploitative instead of something that really grabbed you and pushed you in Lincoln's shoes and made you afraid for him and want to help him. So he ended up cutting it because of the feedback, which was super painful for me personally because it was something I pushed forward and championed, and I ended up directing that day's mocap shoot because it was such sensitive subject matter and we worked on it for a couple months, but it was absolutely the right thing to do in hindsight. I'm not going to read the rest, but it just says over here, I'll read these 4 or something. So I'm very proud of my friend error level. Mafia 3 most notably dived to the hotbed of racism in South America in 1968 as witnessed by Clay, an African American lead. It was an escapingly political set of Hank 13 tackled head on. We find the racist beliefs, language, behavior, some characters game like something, but believe it is evolved to include these deceptions in order to tell Lynn Clay's story. Restatement game which appears on the screen for opening montage. Sorry. Most probably felt that to not include this very real and shameful part of our past would have been offensive to a millions face and still face like gotery, I don't know what that means. Discrimination, prejudice, and racism as all its forms. This is the last part. This combo work Hank 13 is rightfully proud of, and this kind of strong narrative is a feature Hank 13 feels defined by. Continue to pursue in the new game it's working on, new IP, not Mafia 4 I'm afraid, but there's a suggestion this time the tone may also be lighter. And he also said this. The fact we tackled this very tough subject matter is fantastic, but at the end of the day it's a dark game. The violent exploration damaged people. We want to continue to be able to do character studies and dive into what makes people tick and universal human truths, but a lot of us on the team also want to do something a little more inspirational, more uplifting. So the tone of this new thing we're working on is a little bit different from Mafia 3. There's a lot of the same underpinning in terms of strong characters. It's got weight and heft, and it's mature, not necessarily a rating, but a subject matter. I was concerned about the uplifting remark, so during the audience Q&A I asked about it, and whether Hank 13 felt a sense of responsibility to create politically charged stories following the work done on Mafia 3. Okay, this is 2 more stuff. It's very important to me to tell the truth in our games. I feel responsibility, yes, and since we have a capability to tell meaningful stories, so we should tell meaningful stories with meaningful characters and characters who are not usually kind of any other way. The point is, we have a diverse cast. Might say Tony's a little more uplifting, but we're still doing really weighty subject matter and themes, and we're not afraid to tackle those themes. Okay, I'm sorry, it's better to go completely white beginnings. Really important me to tell the truth in our game, and we try to make people think, but the moment we go up on a soapbox and start preaching, we're done. Everyone will see right through that. Okay, last thing before I end this. At the same time, he added, I never want us to be a studio who gets up a soapbox, and we're really careful about that with Mafia 3. One of the first conversations Bill, Harm's lead writer, I had about Lincoln was, he can't be perfect, he has to be flawed. We cannot put him up on a pedestal and say, this is the idolized African American lead character, otherwise it won't feel true or honest, and we wouldn't have enough to relate to with him while working on the story. Alright, that's the end. See you guys, bye.